Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 15th Vegan Convergence of the Peoples, VCOP 15. At this time, we have Jane Velez-Mitchell, who needs no real introduction among us vegans because she's so well known in our circles, about as well known as an anchor on any mainstream media. However, I will give a short bio on her. She is the founder and president of UnchainedTV, or UnchainedTV, a nonprofit digital news network focusing on animal rights and the vegan compassionate lifestyle. Jane has won numerous awards for her reporting on animal issues and has produced 2 award-winning documentaries, maybe more by now. For 6 years, Jane hosted her own show on CNN Headline News, where she ran a weekly segment on animal issues. Before that, she was a news anchor reporter at KCAL TV in Los Angeles and WCBS TV in New York. She's a graduate of New York University and is the author of 4 books, maybe more by now, including 2 New York Times bestsellers. Welcome, please welcome Jane Velez-Mitchell.
Thank you, Gabriel or Gabrielle. So glad to be here. I was thinking about what could I say that's going to be useful, because part of the reason I started Unchained TV is that we're in a vegan echo chamber. We're always talking to each other about how terrible animal agriculture is and how we need to go vegan, but we're already vegan. So what does that accomplish? So we really need to strategize about how to reach the general population. I just made a presentation when I was in Texas at the best plant-based conference ever. And I was going to run through a little bit of that and then go to Unchained TV. I purposely have the screen black there on the back so you can see how, if you want to download it, it's on all Samsung TVs. I'll show you exactly how to do that. So I am going to share my screen and start with my presentation and just run through that a little bit, because I think, it helps us focus on the problem. Now, can you all see this?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. And I'm not going to put it full screen because I'll lose the power to move it forward and everything. I'll just keep it simple. Here we are, those of us who are gathered here, and just to recap and review, we have a solution to most of the world's problems: climate change, habitat destruction, biodiversity loss, wildlife extinction, ocean dead zones, water pollution, drought, desertification, world hunger, obesity, the healthcare crisis, heart disease, cancer, pandemics, climate-related migration, deficit spending, animal suffering, and societal violence. We have a solution to most of the world's problems. All we need to do is say, hey, world, go plant-based. Unfortunately, they don't listen to us. We say go plant-based and they keep eating animals. And my dog is chewing on her tennis ball, if you might hear that in the background. So here is the question and the mission. How do we get the rest of the world to hear us before it's too late? To wake up, to join us, to hit the tipping point, to make plant-based the norm, not the exception. As Dr. Sailesh Rao has so eloquently said in one of the documentaries that you probably know is about Dr. Rao that we did, we need a cultural shift and we need it soon. This is why I started Unchained TV, the world's only vegan streaming network, and it is not mine. It belongs to the Unchained TV nonprofit, which is officially called Jane Unchained News Network. But that was just something I was filling out at a form and didn't realize that was going to become the official name. I'm trying to rebrand as just Unchained TV. So, what I've noticed is even when people say, oh, yeah, that's great, you have a streaming network, they're still genuflecting around mainstream media. They're genuflecting in front of mainstream media that treats our movement like either it doesn't exist or we're a bunch of radical crazies. We are not going to get what we want from mainstream media. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I've got some pretty shocking examples that I'll tell you about later. So there are always exceptions to every rule. the New York Times recently did this article that is a really good short article, basically explaining, hey, there's a solution to climate change. All right, save the planet, put down that hamburger. Researchers examined the diets of 55,500 people and found that vegans are responsible for 75% less in greenhouse gas emissions than meat eaters. So that is huge. That should have been on the front page in the top, but it wasn't. It was way down somewhere. Still, they did report it. Okay, I mean, the implications of that are enormous because there's so much debate about what percentage of greenhouse gas emissions are caused by animal agriculture. We all know that we've provided an answer that is disputed by the, United Nations, that was recently exposed in a Guardian article as basically crumbling to meat industry pressure after they put out Livestock's Long Shadow way back in, I think it was 2006. So the UN has been co-opted. Let's put it that way. But basically what that article said is if meat eaters went plant-based, they could reduce their greenhouse gas emissions by 75%. Basically, if everybody on the planet who was eating animals went plant-based, right there, we could solve the climate crisis. Do you think any media picked that up? Was it on CNN, NBC, ABC, Fox News, MSNBC? No, not one news outlet. And I look for it. Maybe they'll do that. No. But what were they doing at the time? A slew of articles about National Cheeseburger Day. Okay. McDonald's giving out 50-cent double cheeseburgers in honor of National Cheeseburger Day all over the place. So let's wake up and stop counting on the mainstream media to tell our story. Okay. And constantly begging and pleading. And if we get a little write-up somewhere, acting like it's the end of the world. We got to come up with another strategy. Indeed, the mainstream media, big pharma, big meat, they're the primary advertisers. It seems to me, and I would invite any member of the meat industry or the pharma industry, but watching those commercials, when I try to watch, for example, sometimes I'll try to watch the Rachel Maddow show or breaking news, and it's a lot of pharmaceutical commercials. To me, it seems like they're trying to normalize diseases like obesity, high cholesterol. And I think that they're trying to get people to identify with their illnesses. Hey, I've got this illness, give me a prize. A lot of these illnesses, as we all know, are preventable with a whole food plant-based diet. So big meat and big pharma has also, they've co-opted our government. I just need to say the USDA is run by a former dairy industry trade group leader. Okay. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack is the former president and CEO of the U.S. Dairy Export Council and a well-known beef advocate who defended what was, described at one point, and it became a big legal issue. So I don't know whether to repeat it, but it had a color and then the word slime in it. Okay. Meanwhile, our government, and this is a bipartisan problem, while they're beating their chests about fighting climate change, announcing more than $43 million investment in meat and poultry processing research expansion and innovation. So the pharmaceutical industry is the biggest lobbyist on Capitol Hill. Now, let's just sum this all up. The forces destroying our planet are controlling the pillars of our democracy, which are media and government, legislative, executive, and judicial. Okay, so basically don't count on those forces. And you could throw the UN in there with them to solve our problem. Again, I'm getting back to how do we convince people to discard this one false underlying assumption that's a root of pretty much all of our big societal problems. It's a monumental task. There are 8.1 billion humans on the planet eating 80 billion land animals every year. And livestock biomass, as Dr. Rao has said so many times, is way up to 62% of total biomass, mammal biomass. Americans are still eating more than 66 pounds of pork per capita yearly. That's like the average American is eating 66 pounds of pork a year. So most Americans are heavy meat eaters. And we know that We are barreling toward a climate crisis with wildlife biomass down to just 4%, as Dr. Rao has said. Most mammals will only exist in zoos by as early as 2026 at this rate. That's going to trigger the biodiversity collapse, is going to trigger other ecological collapses. 1 in 3 bites of food depends on pollinators. There's 9 critical boundaries. This is not on Unchained TV, but it's a great documentary on Netflix about breaking boundaries. There's only 9, and we're blasting through them. Once we've blasted through them, we could reach a point where our planet is no longer a safe operating space for humanity. The media prefers to focus on what I call catastrophe porn and violence porn, showing the bodies, whipping everybody up into a frenzy for ratings with the problem. But again, when the solution was presented, did they put it out that we could all reduce our emissions footprint by 75% by switching to a plant-based diet? No, not even covered. Even when somebody as important and powerful as Bill Gates says Western countries should move to 100% synthetic beef, okay, he is mocked. Even Bill Gates, one of the richest and the most powerful people in the world. So when I look at the problem, and I don't necessarily have all the answers, but here we are, you know, I'm giving my opinion. I think there's 3 key strategies. I do believe cultivated meat is a very important piece of the puzzle. And I know that there are vegans who don't agree with that, and I respect their opinion. Please respect mine. But I don't know about you. I've known people for 45 years who, no matter what I've said, no matter even if they've had heart attacks and needed stent operations, continue to insist on eating animals. For them, I believe cultivated meat is the answer. And, you know, I read an article recently that said 12% of the population, I wish I had written it down and included it in this, but 12% of the population is responsible for like a huge percentage of the meat eating. So those 12% cultivated meat is for you, okay? Because there ain't no convincing some people. And so, you know, we have to accept life on life's terms. I think if you asked a cow, and you know, they're getting more and more sophisticated in terms of what they need to get in terms of cells from an animal to create cultivated meat. I've done interviews with people who are doing bioidentical meat that doesn't require any animal products whatsoever. They just copy the DNA sequencing of a certain animal and a certain animal part, and they create it. But even if it does require like a skin biopsy or a biopsy, if you asked a cow or a pig trapped in one of these horrible crates, would you prefer we take a biopsy, or should we castrate you without anesthesia, cut off your tail, watch you go mad from biting on the bars? They'd say, no, here, take a biopsy. And I also think we need more and better plant-based products. Yes, we are getting very sophisticated with our vegan cheeses, and we are getting, this is Unreal Deli, it's vegan pastrami. We got to continue refining it even more. And, you know, I would urge everybody, stop repeating the meat industry's talking points about how burgers that are veggie burgers and products like this are plastic and they're horrible for us. Like that, there's a war room. According to the Vegan Women's Summit, which I attended, an expert who spoke there said there's a war room the size of Fox News in Colorado, just manned with people from the meat industry that are pushing that message out. Don't eat these veggie burgers. And that's why probably Beyond Meat stock has dropped, and some of these companies are struggling. So please, if you don't want to eat it, don't eat it, but don't repeat the meat industry's talking points. And the final thing that I think we must do is create our own mass media. That's where Unchained TV comes in. We are on all of these different platforms. And when Facebook was giving us millions of views, we were just focusing on Facebook. But Facebook no longer gives us millions of views. It has changed its algorithms, and we had to pivot. And first we pivoted to Amazon Prime for some of our big shows. That was working great. Then Amazon Prime started charging 99 cents an episode. And we saw it go from hundreds of thousands of views down to like 1,000 views. That's when we decided to start our own streaming network, the world's only vegan streaming network, Unchained TV. This is a 501c3 nonprofit run almost entirely, excuse me, by volunteers. I don't take a salary. I donate to keep it going. Others who are on this call, Dr. Rao is a monthly donor. We've got other people who are watching right now who are a monthly donor. And if I urge one thing, please become a monthly donor. I'm going to put the donate link in the chat. You can do it for $5 a month, a cup of coffee, because while we do have some significant donors, they also want to know that we're getting donations from rank and file people. And it's very important. So for the price of a cup of coffee, I don't know. Hey, Sarah Siegel, you're watching. You can go to the donate button and put it up. It's basically UnchainedTV/donate. Please do that so that I can continue this presentation. If you could put that in the chat, I would appreciate it. Just lost my whole thread because I started messing with this. Okay, here we go. We're back. Okay, can you see this again? Yes, right? So why streaming? Well, streaming has surpassed broadcasting cable as America's most watched viewing platform. Okay, 83% of US homes have enabled smart TV devices or streaming media players. So streaming is still in its infancy, okay? People are still learning about all the different, I'm still learning about all the different, I'm gonna grab one of my other, here it is. I mean, there's a lot of different things, and I'll show them later, that we have to, all these things that we have to learn, but people are learning. Just like when the internet first started, you know, that first computer, oh my God, they're asking us to do code. It's going to get simpler and simpler. It is the future. Streaming is the future. And for those who say nobody watches TV anymore, just walk your dog at night and take a look at all the blue lights in all the houses. Everybody's watching TV. So there you see, Unchained TV can be uploaded to your TV just like Hulu or Amazon Prime or Netflix. And we have some great shows. Pig Little Lies is also on PBS stations around the country right now. Dr. Silas Rao is one of the executive producers. Thank you for donating to that, Dr. Rao. We just yesterday, I got 11 videos from Dr. Joel Furman, who obviously is very, very popular. And I'm in the process of uploading those. For those who have funds, who have means, you can become an executive producer on some of our shows. We're also working on a new show with the Jenners. Brandon Jenner of the famous Kardashian Jenner family is a vegan, a proud vegan, and as is his wife. And they are we're putting together a show with them, which is very exciting. And again, yes, here it is. Become a monthly donor. You can just go to unchainedtv.com/donate, or you can try to grab that QR code. So that is my presentation there. I'm going to stop the share for a second. And well, I want to tell you about one more thing. Let me stop the share and just get rid of that to make things a little simpler. I did want to show you one other thing, very exciting thing. We are going to premiere a new movie. And I literally am just getting the promos in as we speak. And that movie is called Ending Real Fur. And it is going to premiere on Fur Free Friday, which happens to be Black Friday. And I'm just very, very excited about having it on Unchained TV. So let me just show you a graphic. We've got some really good promos, but again, we're literally just working on them. What I would urge everybody to do is please mark Fur Free Friday which is November 24th. It's also the day after Thanksgiving. And we are going to premiere the movie at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. And then we're going to have a Q&A with some big stars in the fashion world as soon as the film ends on Unchained TV. So we're very happy that it's on Unchained TV. I don't know if you can see these graphics that I'm putting up, but it's really exciting to have that premiere. And one of the things that I want to mention is that we don't have a built-in audience on Unchained TV. So I just want to show you how easy it is. I've ended the screen share. Hopefully you can see me. Here's my Samsung TV. I'm just going to turn it on, and I'll just show you how you can easily turn it on here. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to go back and show, here we go. Okay. When we go back here, we go over here, and I'm going to see how it's right there on if you go to the left, there's an app store. See those 4 dots? That's your app store. You click on that and you just put in one word, Unchained TV, and it'll pop up, and then you can drag it to wherever you want. So I put it in between Prime Video and Disney Plus, and there it is. And now let me just say, this was a story we did. We've been the only news organization covering the trial of DXC co-founder Wayne Hsiung, who faces 2 years in prison. He is on trial right now in Sonoma County, California. And what I'd like to do again is pull up our app and show you a little bit of our coverage, because we are literally the only news organization covering this extremely significant trial. So let me just share again my screen and show you. Here we go. I have to say, and this is, you're looking at all of our content here. If for nothing else, the fact that I believe the judge in this case has really tried to stifle news coverage. Wayne Hsiung has been gagged, so he can't speak to the media. And there's no video in the courtroom. There's no still photos in the courtroom. And not only that, when a sketch artist tried to sketch the judge, they took the sketch away from her and they said, you are not allowed to sketch anybody in the courtroom except for Wayne. You cannot sketch the judge. You cannot sketch the prosecutors. You cannot sketch the bailiffs. You can't sketch the witnesses. You can't sketch the jurors, which that's fine. You don't want to sketch the jurors, but the fact that she can't sketch the judge, she can't sketch the prosecution. They are treating him like an organized crime kingpin. And according to some claims, which I can't independently verify, but they've claimed that somebody on the prosecution team has said, we're going to cut the head off the snake of this movement, end quote. And I invite anybody from the prosecution on any time to dispute that. But it certainly looks like they are trying to suppress coverage. And there is no coverage. We are the only ones covering it. So I'll just show you a little bit of our coverage from one day. Jane Velez-Mitchell reporting with team coverage of the open rescue trial of Wayne Hsiung that is going on right now in Sonoma County, California. We are at a crucial moment of the case. Right now, Wayne Hsiung is inside the court giving his closing argument to. Okay, so we
has offered us, and
we showed some video. We've got some breaking news to report to you. Carla Cabral has just walked out of the courtroom, and you were there to see the closing argument. Bring us up to date. What's going on?
Yeah, so this morning, the judge read out the entire instructions to the jury. That took at least 45 minutes. And then Deputy District Attorney Robert Wayner started his closing statements. That took us all the way until lunchtime. He focused on the crimes themselves, what the letter of the law is in finding Wayne guilty of these charges. He showed several pictures from each of the actions. He showed a picture of Wayne standing right at the gate of Sunrise, at Reichart. And they're just nitpicking little things. And the jury definitely seemed very bored by.
So
in order to get that done, you know, having these trials and getting as much media attention as we can is super important, because people need to not just see them as individuals, but as a collective of, you know, sentient beings that need to have a voice. And
so I'm just literally scrolling through our 1 hour and 28-minute coverage of this case, which we also had Curtis. I mean, that kind of says everything right there. My gosh, if you went into a sanctuary and you saw an animal that was as stiff as a board that had been just left there for dead, you know, that would be a super, super huge problem. So it's very interesting. So everybody's given their final thoughts. So I'm just giving you like just examples of our coverage. We played a lot of video of the event as well. And, you know, I will always say that we invite anybody from the animal agriculture industry or anybody from these two particular animal factories on any time. But just the fact that we are showing this, and there's literally one media outlet, which was National Public Radio, went in to closing arguments, I believe, but I haven't seen an article yet. I did speak to an independent journalist who is sympathetic to the issue of animal rights, you know, open to covering it. And she said to me, and she's from a pretty big independent publication, this is almost impossible to cover. There's only 27 seats in the courtroom. How do you know what's going on inside unless you fly there and just get into the courtroom? So, you know, with the defendant gagged, with no cameras in the courtroom, with no video, with no sketches, with 27 seats, it's hard to cover. But let me say that the role of media isn't just to cover easy cases. The role of media is to cover serious cases that need covering. And so it's just proof, one more piece of proof that we can't rely on mainstream media to tell our story. So we do need to come up with a new mass media. And that's what Unchained TV is. We are available across the world. We just added Spanish. So we added a Spanish language section just this week. And
Rescatalandia es un proyecto que se trata básicamente de rescatar animales.
yeah, so we're very proud to do that. Mercy for Animals gave us a bunch of videos, and we're getting some from Casa Vegana in Puerto Rico as well. We're also going to upload some other languages. We got Supreme Master just sent us a bunch of videos, which we're uploading. We've got, you know, most of the big organizations have given us videos so that we can create a channel for each one of those organizations. And so we're just bringing stories that nobody else is talking about. We're also putting a lot of plant-based health recipe videos. What I'm trying to do now is recategorize it so that it's not just a mishmash. We really need to put videos. In fact, as soon as we're done, I'm going to just take that and put that just into the news section, because I think the first big featured section has to be fun videos that might get people in the tent, like Vegucated, like Cheese Trap, like Lion Arc, and some of these others. Hero Dog is a very compelling documentary. People love dogs. Then under new arrivals, we're going to put some of the new stuff that is just coming in to our network. By the way, I would urge everybody, get your tickets for November 11th and 12th. The V-Kind experience is coming to Los Angeles. Look, SoCal Veg Fest. All right. 10,000 people a day, one of the biggest plant-based festivals in America. Zero media coverage. Again, Unchained TV was the only media there.
SoCal's in the building.
SoCal Veg Fest here in Orange County, California, the Big O. And it is massive. 10,000 people a day, 2 days in a row, hundreds of food booths, panel discussions about the plant-based lifestyle, cooking demonstrations. There's music. There's something for everyone. And it really is like coming to a plant-based mecca. For those who aren't vegan, they can. Okay, and so that we did a story on that. They were very appreciative. Then we also promoted that story on Instagram. And unlike some people, they actually accepted our invite to collaborate, which, you know, is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. We don't have multi-million-dollar budgets. We go and do stories about, people and vegan restaurants and vegan movers and shakers. And then the only thing we ask is, hey, accept our invite to collaborate so we can let your fans know that this story's up there. And a lot of people decline to collaborate, which to me, honestly, I'm not going to criticize, but I think it's a stingy carnist mentality. Like, you don't want to share your fans. Look, we're not going to have a planet in 10 years. We got to get over it. Anytime somebody vegan asks us to collaborate, we accept their invite to collaborate, and everybody else should too.
My name is Emma Hurst and I'm a Member of Parliament for the Animal Justice Party in Sydney, Australia.
How did the Animal Justice Party get started?
This party started because we realised that there was no other political party that was really representing animals in Parliament. And it became really clear when the Environmental Party that is already elected failed to support kangaroos. They were actually supporting legislation to shoot our kangaroos. People became really angry, really furious, and realised there's just no voice for animals on that legal political scale. And that was where the Animal Justice Party was formed. The first time we ran an election, we had somebody elected. And the second time we ran in New South Wales, I got elected. So we had two people representing animals in New South Wales Parliament. And we've also had somebody else elected in Victoria. He ran 4 years, and more recently we've had Georgie as well.
I'm Georgie Purcell, Animal Justice Party member for Northern Victoria in Australia. So I am an elected representative for animals. Much of what we're asking for animals is for the law to be changed. And instead of influencing other politicians to get on board with our values, we should actually get some vegans and activists into Parliament and into our political systems.
It's always good to play from a position where you've been utterly underestimated, because that's what happened. We just slid through, we got those votes, and we got elected. People will vote to protect animals. And we know that people will vote to protect animals. We have seen how behind our legislation is in Australia. We still export animals live. We still have greyhound racing, horse racing. We still have intensive factory farming right across the country. And people are sick and deaf of the fact that in New South Wales and Australia that there's no politicians standing up to make this outlawed. And that's why the Animal Justice Party has managed to get elected.
You're headed to New York, where activists have gone full steam doing in-store demonstrations against kangaroo leather.
Look, we want to support all the Americans that are helping us with this campaign. It's really difficult for us to get that message across in Australia. So we've come to America because we know here that activists are listening, that people are listening about how absolutely horrific this industry is.
I'm Emma Hurst, and I'm a Member of Parliament in Australia. And I'm here to send a very strong message to Adidas. The massacre of our native animals is a terrible price to pay for a pair of shoes. Keep your hands off our native animals. You have blood on your hands when you involve yourself in this massacre. There are other companies like Puma and Nike, and today New Balance has also announced that they will not be using kangaroo leather.
I wanted you to see just more in depth of one story. Again, a story that should have received a lot of mainstream news media coverage, very telegenic, articulate, charismatic political leader. But Donnie Moss from theirturn.net, who's one of our partners. I mean, we work together. We run two different kinds of news operations, but we work together all the time. They got us some of that video of her in New York. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you knew how many hours went into just editing, which I edited that one video, okay? This is a lot of work. I was in mainstream media for 38 years. I thought I worked hard, and I did work very hard, but I have to say I'm working at least as hard, if not harder now than I ever have before. And we just need your help. We need your help, but not we need your help. Everybody should take ownership of Unchained TV. It doesn't belong to me. Nonprofits don't belong to people, you know? It's something we created to meet a need, but I want everybody to consider a community resource to get involved. Again, if I'm trying to see where the chat is, here we go, the chat. Yeah, I hope somebody put up the where to donate button, because that's an easy way to get involved. You know, it's a fun way to get involved and be part of the team. And I'm going to actually just go to very quickly UnchainedTV.com and show you what we've done. Last thing, I'm going to share my screen again to show you that we've now kind of redesigned our homepage on Unchained TV so that we have basically a small version of the app on our homepage, and then you can click load more categories to get to the rest of the categories. And then we still write our articles every week. So we're writing a lot of articles. We've gotten into Google News. Now, the good news is, I just want to say one other thing. You can also, if you're somebody who says, okay, I don't have Amazon Fire Stick, I don't have a Roku device, I don't have an Apple TV device. Do you see on the top right where it says sign in? That's because I've signed up. But if you're not signed up, you can go to the top right and click sign up and put your email in, and you will get email notifications. For example, the jury has been deliberated for 3 days in the Wayne Shung trial. So we're going to be standing by next Tuesday when they come back. And the second they have a verdict, I'm going to, as quickly as I can, get program the app and our social media to go live, and you'll get a notification about that. So, you know, there's good information that even if you're vegan, you can get. And also, in other words, even if you're already vegan, you know, some people say, well, I'm already vegan. Well, guess what? You can email and text these videos to people. So if you want to, you could put this video on Facebook. So you can just pop it right up on Facebook and share it that way. And you can write something and share. I'm just going to put that on my Facebook right now. So Facebook takes a while now to load stories, but that's something you can do. So there, once you're signed up, there's plenty of activism you can do. You can share it on Twitter. So if there's a story that you like, okay, and it's all across the board. I mean, you can share Earthlings. That's pretty much the long and short of it. Again, I wanted to go back to this really quickly and try to, I'd have to go back. Hold on. I'm going to go back to UnchainedTV.com and just quickly put this up. Here we go. Right here. We can go to donate, and we have a match, a very generous match. So if you become a $5 a month monthly donor, that's a $50 match, $100 monthly donor, $10 match, $250 for every $25 monthly donor. So you can really supersize your effort and your dollars. But basically, it's a cup of coffee or two a month, and you can join the team because we do need that support. The last thing I'll say is that, you know, we don't have massive advertising budgets, but we are doing a lot with a little. Heather Dahman from HD Vegan Academy, who I got through Victoria Moran, who's also going to have her own show on Unchained TV starting soon, along with two great plant-based doctors who are going to be doing Dr. Mom's show very soon. We got a lot of shows coming up. She is a whiz, and she has really helped us grow by really, really effective Facebook ads. And we, you know, every penny goes into making sure that, since we're doing a lot of the other stuff for free, editing ourselves and blah, 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 that we take funds and we put it into marketing. So I'm happy to report that we are growing. We initially went past the 1 million view mark when we had Pig Little Lies, and we switched then to Vimeo OTT, and we kind of had to, you know, hit the reset button. It was a new, same concept, but this is a much better platform, streaming. It's one of the largest streaming services out there, Vimeo. You've heard of Vimeo. This is Vimeo OTT. And so we're building now. We were 60,000 minutes viewed back in July, approximately this summer. September, I think, was 90,000. October, we've already surpassed 110,000 minutes viewed. And the reason why we use minutes viewed is that a view can be 3 seconds. On Facebook, they count 3 seconds as a view. Well, 3 seconds is not going to change anybody's mind. There's a reason why 37% of people who've gone vegan by watching a documentary, most of which are on our streaming network. Earthlings, Dominion, Vegucated, Forks Over Knives, they're all up there. And again, you can text these to people and you can email them. But you need a certain amount of time on a subject to have that switch. It's not something where you can see. I'm not saying nobody, I'm sure somebody has seen a 3-second image of an animal in a factory farm and gone vegan. Of course it's happened, but most people, it's a process, not an instantaneous event. So I myself had that experience. We decided to do a sustainability category, and I was uploading these videos about composting. Then all of a sudden, after watching about 3 of them, I was like, you know what? I don't compost. I am not composting, and I'm uploading videos about composting. So all of a sudden I said, I got to start composting. And now I'm like the composting queen in our condo association. I got the green bin. I'm always composting. I'm leaving notes. But it took 3 videos. If it had been a 30-second video, which I've seen about composting, it didn't register. So one of the things that I'm really starting to like redefine what we're doing, I almost think Unchained TV offers people a course in how to go and why to go plant-based. It's not just about, watching. Sure, we work hard on social media too, but you need to sort of saturate yourself in the information for a certain amount of time for it to take. All right. For most people, it's not soup yet when they're just watching something for 3 seconds or 5 seconds on TikTok or Instagram. Not saying those aren't valuable. We actually have committed to doing more than 20 hours a month of live TikTok videos. And we're getting like 70,000 views a month. But again, how long are people watching? If they're watching 5 seconds or 10 seconds or even 45 seconds, is that really going to achieve the change? So we're really pleased with the fact that our audience is growing. And we're also leaving it without ads for the first 2 weeks of the month to see what's the organic growth without the Facebook ads. And that is growing. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, but we are growing. And as people get more familiar with these streaming devices, okay, it's gonna take off like crazy. And if you have an Apple TV device, this is how you can download Unchained TV. Again, the Samsung, and then you have your similar looking Roku or Amazon Fire Stick devices. So that's it. We need your help. Please join. At the very least, sign up and download, and then share out these videos. And if you can give us, become a monthly donor for $5 a month or $10 a month. I think it's really fun because you're part of the team, and there's a good feeling there to be part of this team. We're the only vegan streaming network in the world. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, hands up. Let's raise our questions for Jane.
Can we go, where do I see? Oh, here we go. Well, I'm just going to do this off the chat. Oh, yes. Ray Kowalczyk did Animal Climate Controversy, and that's on Unchained TV. Go ahead, Gabrielle. Who's asking questions here?
Well, let's see what is in the chat. I don't need to be spotlighted. Someone just commented that this was your best presentation ever, and I agree. I was just curious if you know how big your audience is today.
Well, okay, so streaming is a little bit of a difference. It's, we didn't start with a built-in audience. That's how we calculate on a monthly basis how many minutes are people viewing per month. Because in terms of finding out what our audience is, one of the challenges is there's so many different devices. There's the phone, there's the online, there's all the different kinds of televisions and the different streaming devices. So they don't provide a list of how many downloads on all of those different devices. So what we use to calculate our impact is the number of minutes viewed. And as I said, it's going up. We're not even done. Oh, thank you, Dominique. Dominique just registered for $5 a month. Way to go. Way to go. That's how we're measuring it at this point. We have a lot of other things in the works as far as how to maximize the content, our top tier content. One of the things that I'll say is when we first started this about 1.5 years ago, I was kind of like, yeah, sure, I'll take this video, I'll take that video, whatever you got. Now we're getting a lot more selective and people are coming to us like ending real fur. Please jot that down. Black Friday, instead of shopping, watch Ending Real Fur. And we have a Facebook events page on that, and we're really going to start doing promotions on that. Yeah, that is how we're measuring our impact at this moment in time. You have a question, Sarah Siegel. I see you up there.
Hello, I just wanted to remind everybody about the Unchained TV TikTok channel, and that's very popular. And we do live broadcasts for 1 hour at a time, sometimes longer. And Anthony Shale, recently had 12,000 views on a video that we did with Direct Action Everywhere for something we called a crime fillet or Chick-fil-A's. And I put in the title Chick-fil-A's, and I think people didn't even see that. I think they just saw Chick-fil-A because, people think that way. Yeah. And then I put eat more plants, and I put EATMOR, like the way they do their advertising, plants. And then Tony stayed on my phone the whole time. And it blew us away. And even Justine and I were getting our hair done by Vegan Products in Bloomingdale's the other day. And my hairstylist is plant-based. And so she was doing our hair, and we had over 5,000 people watching. So that's a big network right now where a lot of young people are on. And Lindsay Baker has does a show on Unchained TV, and she's just phenomenal. She literally, I think, has the best videos right now on Unchained TV besides just on TikTok. So I just wanted to say that because some people do have kids here, and it's good to get people on TikTok to watch because it's like a lot of people go vegan from the TikToks, I think, personally. What do you think, Jane? Thank you.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. What I will say is doing the TikToks, which Lindsay Baker, and by the way, Sarah Siegel is one of our top, we do a Wednesday Voice America Radio simulcast. And we do need people to call in every Wednesday at noon Pacific. We have great guests. We just had Renee King Sonnen of the Rowdy Girl Sanctuary and the filmmaker Jason Goldman on. He's done an incredible documentary film about Renee King Sonnen, the Texas cattle rancher's wife who turned her husband's cattle ranch into a vegan animal sanctuary called Rowdy Girl. We had them both on, but it's hard to get people to call in. Sarah is one of those people who's always there, always calling in, always going live on TikTok. And she's got a bad leg, as you can see. She's lame right now, but it doesn't stop her from going live. And so there's so many different ways people can volunteer. You can be one of the live TikTokers. We have to go live for 20 hours a month. So I'm always going live one day in the kitchen making a salad. I will find, to answer your question, I don't know. I mean, all I can tell you is when I'm being lighthearted and loosey-goosey and just making the salad, we have lots of views. As soon as I start talking about animal rights, they go way down. Your question, Allison.
Hey, Jane. Yeah, for your new service for Spanish speakers, I wondered if there was a specific link that I can send out or that we can start circulating.
Oh, yeah. So I'll just show you really quickly, and you can also do this on your phone. I can go back here and share my screen and just go to watch.unchainedtv.com. And once you've signed up, okay, that's a really good question. Because we only had Mercy for Animals videos at this point, but within a couple of weeks, we're going to have other videos. Once we get other videos, I'm going to take all of these. Instead of having them stretched out, I'm going to make a channel, Mercy for Animals in Espanol. But see how you can click here, and just for example's sake, you can send this to somebody. So you could email this to whoever you want to. Now, when you download on the phone, okay, so you want to send it to somebody, you could send it to whatever. Could just, there we go. I could just send that video. There's the link. And that's another great thing. You can literally send and email any of these videos. And if you download on the phone, you can text them to people. So that's something you can do.
Would it be hard to create a link or something so that I can promote Unchained TV to the Latin American audience without selecting a specific video? Or to like an announcement to let them know or something.
Yeah, like I said, when we get a few more, I'm going to have, instead of just one video, they're going to be like, see how these are categories?
Yeah.
Like these are all categories with all sorts of videos inside.
Right.
So you will be able to send the entire category to somebody.
Good.
So you can email that. So
Perfect.
Yes.
Because I've been waiting for a long time. I've promoted Unchained TV with my vegan audience down here in Latin America, but I haven't done it in an intensive. I'm in Lima, Peru.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we really want to get more Spanish language programming. So if you know of any like Spanish language documentaries, that would be super if they're vegan or animal rights documentaries. So yes, let's stay in touch. You can just reach me at cat.unchainedtv.com or jane@unchainedtv.com. Thank you so much. Now, Donna has a question. Donna Sauerberger.
Oh, you pronounce it right. Very. I subscriber last time. You very excited, but to be honest, I haven't watched it until I heard about the trial that's going on. Loved the live coverage, loved it, and look forward to more updates. As a vegan, I avoid animal rights documentaries and whatever because they're painful to watch. I'm wondering if you can tell us, I'm assuming there's lots of cooking shows and things that don't involve having to watch painful abused animals. So could you tell us more about what is there for us who already are vegans and don't want to watch animal rights?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I agree with you. Part of the challenge is, everybody wants to name their show the vegan this, the vegan that. And I'm telling people, please don't do that anymore, because studies show that people are quite turned off sometimes. So we have very fun, we're trying to get more fun content. That's why, you know, we do happy animal videos, like everybody loves, these are some of the easiest to promote, because everybody loves the happy animal videos. That's something that's very easy. We also have a lot of cooking shows. So, my gosh, you know, my favorite is the singing vegan who sings her
banging breakfast bowls, banging breakfast bowls, banging breakfast bowls, banging breakfast bowls, banging breakfast bowls.
Okay, she's having a great time. So we also, like when we did New Day, New Chef, which is our original series that also was on PBS stations around the country, as well as Pig Little Lies. We tried to make that. It's a reality TV show. It's fun. It's in a kind of lighthearted reality genre. So yes, there's plenty of other stuff. Excuse me. And I agree with you. I agree with you. Please, if you're putting something together, get people in the tent. Don't start with the sad music every time. I have to struggle, tell people, please don't start with that sad music. You're telegraphing to people that it's going to be sad and graphic, and then they don't want to watch. So I agree with you 100%. Dominique, what is your question?
So I was wondering if you take content, because I'm in Quebec. So I was wondering if you would take like a Quebec sanctuary to do some lives and talk about what's happening in their sanctuary.
Well, yes, thank you. We could possibly do an interview with somebody from the sanctuary. You know, I think there's still a little confusion. Like, okay, when we go live for the trial, we set it up so we're live on the app, Unchained TV, as well as Facebook, as well as LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We can't do a live on Instagram through StreamYard, but just going live is not what we would want somebody to do for the app. We'd have to interview them in an interview format. If they want to go live, they could become one of our TikTok live people, just like Sarah said. We'd have to give them the password and all that, and they could go live once a month. I think they could help us, because we have to go live 20 hours a month, and that's a lot, let me tell you. On top of everything else we're doing, it's crazy. So we need help with that. And, you know, people say, yes, I'm going to do it. Then they do it for 1 month, and then I don't hear from them again. Not Sarah, but a lot of people. I have to say, you know, if you're going to volunteer, stick with it, because I have trained some people to do certain things. It takes a long time to train somebody and give them the passwords and give them all that. And then they do it a couple of times and then they don't want to do it again. It's like, I'm not complaining, because we have some great volunteers, but it is a commitment. And so if they want to do that, we'd love to have that. Sanctuaries with animals, but they have to commit to go live for at least an hour once a month. So let me know. Just, you know, reach out to me. Everybody has my email. They'll give it to you. And I would love to give them that shot.
Jane, we're out of time, but there is a question in the chat. Maybe you can answer it in the chat.
Oh,
There are a few, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you could answer them in the chat, that would be great.
All right, I will do that right away. Thank you so much, everybody. And I appreciate
And
you.
thank you, Jane. That was a marvelous presentation. Thank you so much. You got me all excited again. And I'll be, after the VCOP, I will also be a regular donor.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Everyone helps. Thank you for joining the team. Appreciate it.
Okay. Bye, Jane. Thank you.